One thing we knew we wanted to do while we were in Uruguay was to stay at an estancia. Estancias vary from working farms that take guests to country hotels that have a lot of land around them. We stayed at El Ceibo, which is a working ranch. This was one of the most relaxing places we've ever been. Partly we lucked out, there weren't other guests. This was off season when we went, so we had it to ourselves. But there's so little noise other than the sounds of the ranch and the nature around you. It was really quite blissful. We only stayed there for about 36 hours, which was fine for us to get our little relaxation and a taste of the rural life. But that day we also had a really nice drive to the coast. We were staying next at Jose Ignacio, and our host at El Ceibo gave us recommendations on the most interesting route down to the coast. So we got to see some interesting sights along the way and had one of the most interesting lunches in a beautiful spot that I think I've ever had. But before that, we had one full day at El Ceibo, and it started early. We had a great night's sleep, which is unusual for us, and we were ready to see the place early in the morning. Diego said he would meet us and show us around, but we were up so early, we were the first ones about. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning.
We're at El Ceibo. Ceibo. Watching and listening to birds.
Think of a more relaxing place.
Although, honestly, I was so happy just looking at the birds and listening to the birds that I could have done that all day, but we had other things to do. Soon after we got up, Marco got there and he fed the little lamb who'd been crying for her breakfast, or his breakfast all morning. I am seriously going to resist the urge to make this nothing but video of birds, but if you are interested at all in birds, Uruguay is the place for you. I watched Marco go out and round up some horses for our horseback ride later. This is a 3 meals a day kind of place, and Mercedes is just giving us our breakfast.
Just looks nice.
Okay, after breakfast, I got a little obsessed with trying to film this ibis who was building a nest up in the trees behind our room. The monk parakeets nesting in the eucalyptus trees were the noisiest members of the bird family living on the farm. These giant communal nests just full of hundreds of birds. The estancia also hosts people that just come for day trips to get a taste of what rural life, traditional ranch life was like. And that would change the dynamic there, but I think it would still be fun. We spent a few hours getting a tour of the grounds and the antiquated water systems that they don't use anymore. Now they have regular water system, but it was interesting to see the old well and the old water tank. And Diego gave us a lesson on the all-important mate.
Y se pone acá. Y este es el mate.
Ajá, ajá.
Mate, que hay que tirar la yerba, para que vamos a tirar la yerba. Yerba, mate. ¿En USA no hay?
Sí.
¿Hay?
Sí, hay.
Bien. Pueden hacer mate ahora.
En health food stores, tienda de salud.
Sí, ahí venden.
Sí.
Okay, pero uruguaya?
Ah,
De Uruguay yerba.
no sé, mate.
I have to say it's kind of embarrassing to hear myself struggling to say anything in Spanish in these clips. I do understand more than I can say, and Diego's English and my Spanish, we worked it out.
Cool. Then hot water. También ahora mira. Se empieza a chupar.
Okay. Es hermosa.
Yes.
Oh. All right.
Cha, 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 cha. Suave. Amargo.
Oh, that's good. It's
After our mate lesson, we took a tour of the old office and the original equipment that they used on the estancia.
The habitación is the history
I like
to
that.
the
with each other.
That's
Yeah.
great.
There was no music, but we did get a chance to learn how to shear sheep. Well, that's an overstatement. First we watched Marco, and then Marco let us hold on while he did some, and we posed for pictures. And while that was just kind of a fun tourist experience, Diego did show us where they have a stockpile of wool from the past couple years because the market for Uruguayan wool has collapsed and it's not worth their while to sell it, so they have a couple years worth just stored. I wonder if this guy in the doorway is hoping that Marco and not the new people are who's going to shear him. Actually, I really liked hanging out with the sheep. They do have this expression that makes you wonder what they're thinking all the time, though. Next up for us was a horseback ride. We rode very gentle horses, used to tourists, and these lamb's wool seating arrangements on the saddles were so comfortable. I don't know why we all don't do that.
very happy for she. It's very happy.
Sí.
Yes. No, it's incredible. Not important the cool.
No.
Nothing.
So after our nice gentle ride around, Diego gave us the opportunity to help him round up some more sheep, and Randy was going to do that, but Randy's horse had other ideas, thought the workday was over and it was time to be done. And Randy has a pretty strong will, and Marco and Diego were pretty determined that the horse was going to change its mind, but it never did. Bringing in the next group of sheep to be sheared.
Randy was going to do this with him, but Randy's horse said he was done. They did explain to us that some of the sheep are merino, and the merino, of course, have that nice soft wool that everyone loves, but they're not good to eat, and that's why they only have a few. And then it was time to feed the baby lamb lunch. This baby was rejected by its mother, so that's why it's being hand raised. And then for our lunch, another asada. It's very important the kind of wood they use for these barbecues, and we saw wood for sale everywhere, in every store. We thoroughly enjoyed our lunch and all the food we had at El Ceibo. They happily catered to Randy's need for gluten-free food. Mercedes made him homemade gluten-free goodies, and Carmen, the owner, bought some prepackaged goods for him too.
Estamos en la selva.
After lunch, Josela, the owner, took us back out. He explained the uses of the different plants and the trees that we saw. Sometimes you can canoe on this river that runs through the property, but the water was too high when we were there. After lunch, it was Randy's turn to feed the baby lamb, who reminded us of our puppy at home. The day was quiet and very full, and the peace and tranquility of the place was really amazing. There was this kind of cool homemade hot tub that was also wood-fired, and the water was warm by afternoon, but it was still too cold for us to decide to give it a try. The next day, we knew we'd be leaving soon after breakfast, so we got up early and took one more walk around in the beautiful, quiet early morning. Okay, maybe not quiet with the parakeets, but still beautiful and peaceful. She says, I don't know why we're doing this.
She said, that's not a thing. She said, that's not a thing. Come on, let's go do something.
They're so fun to have around as tourists, but they're bad for farmers. They eat all the grain that's planted.
Something just bit me.
A bug?
Yeah.
I identified the birds I saw and heard using the Merlin app, which is available for free from Cornell University. Let me know if I got anything wrong in the comments. Then it was time to say our goodbyes and be on our way. Our destination that night was Jose Ignacio. Joselo told us the way he'd recommend we go. He warned us the roads might be a little iffy, but it would be beautiful, and as he said, we would see country people doing country things, which we did. Before we really got underway, we did stop in the town of Florida. Uruguay is not a particularly religious nation, but there are certain places of devout worship, and the Church of San Cono is one. San Cono is an Italian saint, and I'm afraid I don't really know that much about his life, but I do know that in this church people leave many tokens to thank him for his intercession on their behalf. We didn't pay to go into the little museum, but even just visiting the church was very interesting. We saw the construction that Joselo warned us about. For the most part, the roads in Uruguay were great. They were fine. And our rental car fit right in. Uruguay is not a pretentious nation at all for the most part, with one big exception that you'll see when we get to the Puente del Este portion of our videos. But we were getting a little tired of our very basic, very uncomfortable little rental car. And we were glad we didn't have that far to go. A side trip for a couple of hours to the Salto del Penitente, which is a waterfall and kind of adventure park. You can do zip lines there. We didn't do any of that. You could also eat lunch in a pretty little restaurant there. They only take cash, and we had to change our US dollars to Uruguay pesos there. We only had one $20 bill that was crisp enough for them to exchange with us. So that limited what we could do there, but really we didn't have that much time anyway.
Oh my.
I don't know. Not exactly wearing hiking boots. Not the best shoes for this. Trip highlight on the way out of the park, though, we ran across a friendly fox. We did not get out of the car. From what I can tell on the internet, the rabies in Uruguay is only in vampire bats, so a friendly fox was nothing to be scared of, but we weren't taking any chances. In the US, never approach a friendly fox. They are probably rabid.
Cute little thing. Wouldn't want to pet you, but okay. Alright, bye-bye, Zorro.
Be careful, guys. There's a fox. I hope you know him. Actually, in addition to the friendly fox, we stopped and had lunch at another place that was a highlight of our trip, Estación Penitente. Here we are.
This seems like a great find.
It does.
Kitty says, just talk to me. You don't need to eat.
So we had to do some math because we need cash here too.
We think we're gonna be okay.
Pretty sure.
If we're not, we're gonna be washing dishes.
So we're having paella with lamb here, where there are lots of sheep. Seems very appropriate.
Very good.
Even though we've never actually liked paella in Spain, we just realized it's because paella tastes better to us without seafood in it. Light bulb moment.
Yeah, it's a heavy dish, and it goes great with lamb.
Exactly.
It's not great, in my opinion, with
Seafood.
fish.
Right.
Yeah.
We were able to pay with our not perfectly crisp 20s US dollars. We were worried about that during lunch, but it was no problem.
I got peace in my mind. I got peace in my mind. Knowing that we've got the ties that bind gives me peace in my mind.
Stopped in the little town. Oh, I think it was that way, wasn't it?
It's got
Okay. We
correct.
stopped in the little town of Agua, looking for coffee, which didn't quite. We already got a cappuccino, but it was more milk than coffee. But it's a pretty little town, and I enjoyed stopping for kombucha and a very milk-based cappuccino. Right there at Bibite. And then we were on to our beach day at Jose Ignacio. The next day we'd be exploring up the coast a little ways and having an amazing fish dinner on the beach.
So much brighter. The colors so much deeper.